Okay, it's not exactly the video I was hoping to make today, but with every project there's ups and downs. And I had the gearbox apart, everything looked fine, so I had it bolted up to the engine, ran the engine yesterday and up through the gears. And when we try to engage fourth gear, it just wouldn't engage, just a bunch of noisy chattering there, and I tried it 2 or 3 times. So yesterday I took the gearbox out. That's pretty easy, just 4 bolts. And I took the back cover off and I went through everything, and again it all looked fine. So I put it back together and ran it again this morning, and same thing, fourth gear just will not engage. So as you can see, I've completely torn the gearbox apart. The only thing left in the case is the shift mechanism, which is all fine. Removed the Kickstarter assembly, and the secondary shaft, as the Dnepr manuals call it, and the primary shaft, the input shaft and output shaft. What I found is on the output shaft, this is fourth gear, this is third gear, and this sliding collar is what selects the gear, grabs the dogs, and you can see that it slides easily onto third gear. But when we try to slide it onto fourth gear, it just won't engage. And what I found was, I took it apart, bushing's very worn, and it's actually seized on the shaft, and then the damage is between the on the end of the fourth gear here. And as you can see, no matter what I do to align that sliding ring, it will not engage fourth gear. So to fix this shaft, or to be able to use this secondary shaft, I'd have to cut the bushing off, replace the bushing, and replace fourth gear. So I'll just also show you here that the first thing I noticed was up and down play. You can hear that knocking. That's the gear that told me the bushing, movement that told me the bushing was wore out. So in the spare parts, we have actually a couple of other secondary shafts, and this is the best one here. And we'll just see the difference. There's no up and down play in fourth gear. There's the sliding collar is engaged with fourth, engaged with third, back into fourth with absolutely no issue. And when I take the fourth gear off, you can see that the bushing, comes off with the gear. It moves easily in the gear and moves easily on the shaft. Now this secondary shaft is ready to use. I've got to press the bearing on that end, press a bearing and a shim and a washer onto the output end, and I've checked everything else in there, it's good. While I'm in there, obviously I had to remove the input shaft, and it looks like a brand new part, but unfortunately, you can hear that bearing, how rough it is. So I'll have to take this to work. I don't have a bearing splitter here at home, but I'll take it to work, pull that bearing off, and I have a couple of others in good shape that I'll put on. There is another input shaft in the box of spares, and it's got a good bearing and it looks in good shape. It's used, but you can see the wear on the input splines. That's where the clutch disc rides, and obviously the clutch disc has been loose and moving around, and you can see the damage on the splines. So although this would be a usable shaft, it's not in the best shape for compared to the other one. So easier just to change out this bearing, and then we'll have the gearbox hopefully back together, and we can try it out again.